We got to get to this Apple story. It just wrapped up. Tim Cook came out to a virtual audience of memojis that he introduced, but he didn't address the elephant in the room. The Apple CEO at the Worldwide Developer Conference made no mention to its key audience about its app store practices and commissions they charge his key audience, the developers. But Apple did launch the latest version of iOS and updates to software that runs on Apple iPhones, iPads, and other devices. Of course, it's a week-long Worldwide Developers Conference, but let's bring in Neuberger Berman Senior Research Analyst Dan Flax and Starship Capital Managing Partner John Meyer. John, by the way, has developed, 40? Where are you now?
A little over 40
apps, John, for Apple?
Well, 40
a little
over the years,
40.
but I haven't developed in a while. So, that all stopped a number of years ago. I've been running companies the last few years. So that stopped back in, I guess, 2016 or so.
Well, yeah, that would speak to the fact that app development can be very lucrative with or without the 30% commission. John, I will start with you. Tim Cook did not even give a nod to the 30% commission, but Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg did. 1 hour before the Worldwide Developer Conference started, he put up this, was it a Facebook? It was like, he doesn't really tweet. It would be more Facebook. That's right. Here we go. To help more creators make a living on our platforms, we're going to keep paid online events, fan subs, badges, and our upcoming independent news products free for creators until 2023. And when we do introduce a revenue share, it will be less than the 30% that Apple takes. You think that's going to have any sort of magnetic effect of drawing people away from Apple's app store?
I mean, I think it's a hilarious jab at Apple. I don't think it's that meaningful, considering that, again, Facebook makes most of their money on ad revenue and tracking user data, not necessarily developers and apps. But it's a huge contrast. I mean, it is a monumental contrast between Mark Zuckerberg an hour before this developer conference putting this statement out, and then Apple not mentioning payments to developers at all in this event, considering everything going on with Epic, everything now going on with Facebook and privacy, not one mention. And I think it's a huge difference, to be honest, between the Steve Jobs era and the Tim Cook era. I think of the Steve Jobs era, there would have been at least a 5 to 10 minute section that was just a one-to-one between him and the developers, running down why they are making these choices in terms of pricing and commissions and so on. So it was a bit strange to not see them mention it.
I don't want to give all the oxygen to Facebook, but Dan, we've got Apple shares down 0.5%, but Facebook stock is up 2%. As you move Facebook aside for the moment, we do have to look at the fact that Apple shares have been treading water. I mean, it's been very much a sideways bet here. What forces it to eventually break out to one side or the other?
Liz, I think it's going to be execution on their product cycles and continuing to broaden the platform. We've obviously seen good growth in areas like services and wearables. I think that will ultimately be key to creating shareholder value. And if we look at the developer community and certainly what we saw today, first off, Apple's paid over $230 billion to developers since opening the store, and the majority of apps are free. But I think what's important is their ability to continue to empower the developers to create on top of their platform with technologies such as augmented reality. That was shining through today. And so that and the product cycles, I think, are key to driving shareholder returns over the next couple of years for Apple.
Yeah, I would say don't count out Apple. It's such a layering on process, and their very sticky business model is pretty unbelievable. John, let's talk about some of the things that they unveiled here. We could pick any number of areas that Apple could very well be trying to put out of business. I don't care if it's Zoom with SharePlay or, all of this stuff that you can now edit in your photos, putting, wedding video makers and bar mitzvah video makers out of business. But you got to tell me what jumped out at you here. I mean, with SharePlay, they really focused a lot on the people and bringing them together. The grid picture here that we have on screen. Does this make Zoom nervous?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, I was just conducting a massive, case study amongst teenagers, and we were finding out that for teenagers, just Apple in the Messages app, I think it was a year or two ago, adding the functions to respond to a text with like a question mark or an exclamation point. I mean, that according to them was a huge cultural change. And so now all these features for for messages and FaceTime that allow you to interact with your family, your friends, and screen share with them and watch movies together. Or, now you could do FaceTime across different platforms like Android or even the web. It's a really incredible new, I'd say, cultural step forward, because when Apple makes these advancements on the iPhone, you can call these things little features, but they fundamentally change the way you interact with your family and friends on a day-to-day basis. And when Apple does these things, these little tune-ups, they're huge. They completely change your day-to-day behavior.
I gotta bring up something that Craig, because we're on first name basis with these Apple people. The sound that we pulled, the comment that he made, where he looped in a huge ecosystem of other participants. Let's listen to what he said about what people can do on SharePlay and how many other opportunities and platforms you can pull in as you do it. And then, Daniel, I'll have you comment on that.
Mm-hmm.
Watch blockbuster movies with your friends on Disney Plus and hit TV shows on Hulu. Catch originals from HBO Max and see your friends react live to a buzzer beater in the NBA app or a speed run on Twitch. Jump on TikTok to watch the funniest videos of the week, learn a new skill with a friend on Masterclass, and so much more.
I would have thought Apple Plus and Disney Plus are at loggerheads, but Daniel, what does this tell you about how broadening the view Tim Cook has about this company and what it means for all of the stocks of those that have been mentioned?
Liz, I think the announcements that we saw today, specifically what you highlighted there, it really shows the fact that Apple can't do all of this alone. It needs to enable and empower partners like Disney. It needs to make sure that they're successful as well on the Apple platform. That's a key part of the story that I think at times gets overlooked. And if you think about pulling those services together and really integrating the hardware and the software with it to deliver great outcomes, clearly media or sports, as we talked about, is important. Healthcare, the Apple Heart Study, and really bringing benefits to users' lives across a variety of different areas. That's what's important in my view. It's about empowering others.
Somebody flexing their muscle here, and it looks like Apple, because all of these names, AT&T, Amazon, Walt Disney, obviously, and the rest are moving slightly lower. John Meyer, Dan Flax, great to see you. And again, we just can't see Apple breaking out here, down about 0.5%, but we'll see what other news this Worldwide Developers Conference brings us this week. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.